Good morning, Facebook. Good morning. Good morning, YouTube, Instagram. Actually, I'm not live on Instagram. Let me just go live on Instagram real quick. Um, just come on in, say hi on Facebook and YouTube while I try to jump into Instagram live. How is everyone doing? I've missed you guys. Um, Join in, come on in, Instagram. How's everyone doing today? It is so cold here in Georgia today, this whole week. Um, if you're tuning in for the first time, definitely comment in here. Let me know you're tuning in for the first time so I can say hi to you. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Good morning, Misunderstood on Instagram, and Kizana. Good morning, and Dean. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer, represent clients all over the United States and internationally. For those who are trying to immigrate to the United States or who are already in the United States and want to become, green card holders or U.S. Citizens. Our phone number here is 407-995-6567. I see a lot of first timers. Welcome. Welcome from Lagos. First time. I hope you guys are not jumping and killing each other over the elections going on in Nigeria right now. Good morning, Judine Kane. Welcome. First time at Abijo from New York. Welcome. Jamaican Opera says, love the braids. Thank you. I'm so not used to wearing braids, but my kids and my husband always tell me to wear braids here and there. So doing it for the fam. Good morning, Precious from Illinois. Stephanie Williams, finally catching me on live. Welcome. VJ Ram says, I'm going to see you on April 5th. Awesome. My birthday is actually April 4th. Blue Trillion says, good morning, Miss Aisha. My best lawyer ever. Thank you so much. Ray from Portland. Thank you. Husani from Massachusetts. Welcome. And someone else says, I have a consultation with you coming up. I'm loving it, guys. I'm loving it. I'm ready for you guys. So today it's really just a frequently asked question day, unless, there's something specific you guys want me to talk about. So feel free to put your questions in the comments. And, I would try and answer as many of the questions as come in. Giwa on Instagram says, how long does it take to receive employment authorization card after fingerprint during valid cases? The answer depends on what you filed. If you filed a work permit with your adjustment of status when you submitted your valid application, the general timeline is anywhere from 4 to 9 months. Keep in mind that, some people can get it earlier than that time and some people can get it later than that time, but most people will fall within that circle. Most people will fall within somewhere between 4.5 to 6.5 months, but that's the general timeline. From biometrics, it's hard to tell because, it's really hard to tell. There was a time where you could kind of like gauge and say, okay, in like 12 weeks from your biometrics, you'll get it. But it's just really hard to gauge now because nothing is really consistent. Capo says, how long will USCIS take to respond to a medical RFE? It varies, honestly, but we're seeing not too long, maybe about 2 months, 2.5 months, and typically, there are more people than not that get a positive outcome if that's all they're requesting just for your medical, for your 485. So my fingers crossed for you that you would have the same outcome. Someone is asking, how long after a U.S. citizen's divorces an immigrant, can they remarry another one and assist them with their paperwork? So here's the thing. It's not like there's a timeline for you as a U.S. citizen to marry, because that would be ridiculous to create a rule saying, you can only marry at a certain time. Now, could it potentially put a red flag on your application? Yeah, it could potentially put a red flag because they're going to, but remember, guys, whenever I say red flag, it doesn't mean that your case is going to be denied. It just means that there's going to be extra scrutiny because they're going to want to make sure that you're not just marrying this immigrants as a business, like, that you're marrying people because you legitimately, want to be with this person and want to be in this relationship. It just so happens that the two people that you've, are married are immigrants who you're helping petition. So you just want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. If you do that. Okay, let's see who else. Is there an additional document you can get to travel with VAWA on AP? I'm not sure if I understand the question. I mean, if you have your advanced parole approved, which you can apply for with adjustment of status, if you're applying for it simultaneously with VAWA, that's what you essentially will be using to travel. And your advanced parole, which is your travel permit, can come in two ways. You can either come in a combination card with your EAD, or it could come in its own paper with your picture, passport stamped on it. And, the one with the EAD will come with another green paper. That's your approval, if that's the question that you're asking. Coco says, good morning. How long does it take to hear from USCIS after they received your I-130? With that one, it's a matter of the officer in the field office, so I can't give you a timeline, so you just kind of have to wait, hopefully not too long. Let's see. Can you change your last name from your husband's last name back to yours if your documents were mistakenly filed with his last name? Well, so, I've talked about this before, about name change, because for some reason, a lot of applicants or immigrants applying think that you can just kind of like arbitrarily change your name. And it could be because, maybe you guys are not familiar with the laws here in the United States, but you can't just pick a name or a random name and change, because you can get denied for that reason, where they're not able to verify your identity. So there are a few ways to change your name in the United States. So one, through marriage, through a divorce, through naturalization, or through a court order. So the question for you is, was your husband's name your legal last name? Sometimes in some states, using New York, I'll use New York as an example, it specifically writes on there, are you keeping your maiden name, or are you going to your spouse's name? If it's going to your spouse's name, let's say your name is Jane Doe and is going to Jane John or whatever, it will change to Jane John, right, on the documentation right there. And it says it right there. So that becomes your legal name. That's your legal name. So you can't just kind of change your name back and forth, because maybe, you don't want to use the other name. It has to be, what is your legal name? Is it your spouse's last name, or is it your own last name? And if you want to revert back to your own last name, you want to make sure that you've gone through the proper channels to get your last name back. Okay. And let me take some YouTube questions. I got my VAWA approved. Can I file for Form I-824 before I receive my green cards? My kids are in Jamaica, please and thanks. Yes, you can. Samuel says, good morning. What does it mean if USCIS says they're reviewing your case at the embassy and will send your decision after responding to an RFE of completed medical after interview? Thank you. That's exactly what it means. They're reviewing your medicals, which you submitted for the RFE, and if everything looks good, there is a good chance that you could get approved. But again, I don't know your case history. But if you already had an interview and the RFE was just for your medical, let's just keep faith alive that maybe that's what it's going to be. How long does it take to receive receipts numbers after filing for VAWA? What's the benefit of the number? It can take, it varies. So there used to be a time like a few years ago where with VAWA cases, it's very predictable. You get your receipt in 4 to 6 weeks. Now it's absolutely ridiculous. It started with I-360s that did not have a filing fee because they didn't file for adjustment of status. Those were taking months. Like when I mean months, like 4 months, 5 months, which is ridiculous to get a receipt, right? And then it moved from those with I-360 forms alone, and then those filing adjustment of status. Those not so now those filing adjustment of status, sometimes it's taking like 2 months to get a receipt, or 2.5 months. It's ridiculous. So your question is as good as my question. USCIS, why is it taking you guys so long? If you're watching this, give us an answer. But anywho, that's why they also have moved addresses, to Nebraska to try to sort of see, how they can process some of these things faster. So that's possibly why they're doing that. But I can't really tell you why it's taken that long. Your second question is, what is the benefit of a receipt number? So your receipt number is your identification number of whatever you filed. Meaning, in order for you to verify that something was filed, or for it to go from one office to the other, to the field office, you need a receipt number. In order for you to do an inquiry, same thing, you need a receipt number. In order for you to check the status on your case, you need a receipt number. So basically, it is the most important thing to receive when you file, to be able to track your case. Okay. Tamika Green from YouTube says, hi, even though you're not my lawyer, you're my favorite lawyer. All my friends, I give them your WhatsApp number for every immigration problem. Thank you so much. Why am I not your lawyer? Girl, call me. Good morning. How long will it take to get my receipt notice after filing for I-751 just recently? Okay, those are not as ridiculous as the VAWA applications. So probably in about 4 to 6 weeks. And you'll get right now, since you just submitted yours, you'll see that it will show the is it 46 or 48-month extension on your green card, just because it takes so long to make those decisions. Stephanie says, I'm living in the United States. If I marry a resident, can he file for my child who's 19 years old, living outside of the U.S. at the same time when I'm submitting my file? I hate to break this bad news to you, but your child is not going to be eligible to be filed for, because in order for a step-parent to file for a stepchild, the biological parent, has to have married the step-parent before the child turns 18. But if your child is 19, he will not be eligible no matter what. The only person that'll be able to file for him would be you when you get your green card. If you're a green card holder, you can file for him as long as he is not married. If he gets married, he will no longer be eligible for you as a green card holder to file for him. Instead, he would have to wait until you become a U.S. citizen, and then you can file for him. So I hope that was clear. Tisha Waha says, you're my lawyer. Yay. Hi, Tisha. Andy Jones says, good morning. Tina Young says, can I still travel with my main passport from my country, which has my own last name, but my travel permit has my husband's last name? I think you're the one that asked the question about, can you just change your last name? I would recommend that you verify, that you have all proof that you are the same person, because you'll most likely be called into secondary inspection. So if your last name is your husband's last name because of marriage, just provide your proof of marriage and your passport and your EAD to be able to show that. I'm not your lawyer, so I can't give you legal advice as far as where you should travel or not travel. But if you do travel because you have a travel permit and you're authorized to travel, you want to make sure that you have all those documentation. So if they call you to secondary inspection, you can be able to show them all of that. So Kaya says, under what category will it be if my husband files for my son, his stepson, to come to the USA from South Africa? He will be, I'm assuming that you probably just heard what I talked about, which depends on your child's age, right? As long as the child was under 18 when you guys married, then he can file. And if he's filing, he's an immediate relative. They will treat him as his child. That's under 21. OP says, how long does it take to get a green card after receiving a work permit? There's no one answer that fits all. That is truly not a question that anyone can truly answer, because there's so many different applications. What did you file for? Did you have any RFE? Did you have any NUIDs? So no one can really tell you the answer. If you want to get a sense of timelines, you can always go to USCIS processing times and put in your kind of case, and it will give you an average. Those averages just tell you 80% of cases, this is the window that they get approved. It doesn't mean that everyone is going to get approved within that window, but say 80%, which means that sometimes some people will get it earlier and sometimes some people will get it, later. Had my marriage-based green card interview and got a verbal recommendation for approval, but now it's been 3 weeks and the status remains interview completed, case must be reviewed. Is this normal? So, for how long I've been doing this, and God knows the bajillion interviews I've been to, I do not take anything that USCIS officers say at any value at the interview. Oh, we'll recommend you for approval. Oh, you should hear back in like 30 days. It means absolutely nothing to me. What means something to me? The proof is in the pudding. Show me the results. Show me the approval. Show it to me on documentation, because at the end of the day, an officer can say something. The next thing, they're going through the files, or a supervisor is going through the files who has a final say, and then it's like, oh, RFE or whatever it is. So because you got a verbal doesn't mean anything. However, because I'm also somebody that likes to think positive and likes to believe in the best outcome, I will say to you that 3 weeks is not a long time to wait for a decision, even if your decision is positive. Sometimes some officers just take their merry time. And it can take, when I would stop panicking is 6 months after your interview, especially one that recommended you for approval, and you've not heard anything. So 3 weeks, again, not a long time, okay? Good morning. Can you apply for work permit before applying for adjustment of status? The answer is, it depends. Do you have a pending application that qualifies you for a work permit? You cannot just arbitrarily apply for a work permit. Something has to qualify you for a work permit. So, for instance, are you a TPS applicant? Did you get TPS? If you have TPS, yeah, you can apply for work permit and then qualify for adjustment of status and then apply. So the answer depends on your own particular immigration status, but on history. But something must qualify you for a work permit. Oh my goodness. Let me see if there's so many questions I'm not going to be able to get into today. Do you only do valid cases? No, we don't only do valid cases. We handle marriage-based cases, fiancé-based cases, T visas, U visas, consular processing for parents, spouses, children, and basically any family-based or humanitarian-based positions. I recently withdrew my case because my husband and I were having problems after a year of marriage, so I withdrew my I-130 and filed for divorce. I don't know if you're making a statement or you're asking me a question, or if you are the U.S. citizen petitioning or what it is. I'm not sure. Okay. The Black Hawk says, if I'm American with a felony, can I go to Nigeria and marry a woman and bring her here after I get the marriage certificate from Nigeria? So the question you're asking is that with a felony, can you petition for an immigrant to migrate to the U.S. as a green card holder? The answer will depend on what kind of felony it is. If it's anything that falls under Adam Walsh Act, which basically the easy way or the non-legalese way, anything related to children, child molestation, child predator, child abuse, things of that nature. Those are the things that will bar you from petitioning for her. But if it's something else, you as a U.S. citizen can petition. If the person who has a felony is the non-U.S. citizen and the person trying to file for a green card, then obviously the standards are much higher, and you need to make sure that you don't have any deportable offenses or anything that makes you inadmissible based on the crime. How long does it take to divorce the spouse? We don't handle divorces. I'm not a family lawyer or a divorce lawyer. I only handle immigration cases. So, you want to find out from your local counsel, like, you want to find an attorney in your own state, because divorce is a state law, and they would be the only one that would be able to tell you what the standard time is, because, with divorces, there's contested and uncontested. So it depends on where you fall. Okay. Okay, when is the immigration filing fee going to increase? That is a good question. So yesterday was the last day for commentary, and commentary is basically people basically saying, please do not raise the price. This is really expensive. I don't know if we ended up making the numbers that we needed to make, whether or not the fees will go up or not. But generally, we will not find out till a couple of months. But, stay tuned on my channel. If once we know whether it's going up or not, I will always definitely update you guys. Please, if a case has a misrepresentation issues, can it be approved by favorable discretion without filing a waiver? It is just too broad a question to give you a narrow answer. But it's unlikely if they do find it as misrepresentation. But again, without knowing what it is, I can't answer the question. Listener says, you're one of the best lawyers. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, I had a valid case and adjustment of status. I sent its expedite request. So this request will be for all via applications or just work permit. Thank you. Well, Ahmed, I don't know what you sent an expedite for. Did you send an expedite for your work permit or for your valid decision? I mean, I don't know what you're referring to. Okay, and then I guess, Ahmed, you also said, this question always cracks me up, where it says, I don't understand this third live. This is the third live I asked and sent questions for you, and you answered questions before me or after me, but not my question. I don't know what's the issue. So I guess I just answered your question. One thing you guys have to understand when I come on live, and I say this all the time, respectfully, is that none of you here are entitled to me answering your questions. This is my free time that I come on here to pour into you guys and give you guys information to help you in your immigration process. So for me, I don't take it very well with people demanding an answer. For me, when you're not my client, using the right channels to ask a question, that's number one. Number two, these comments are going up so fast that, I cannot get to every question. So I'm not sitting and saying, oh, who am I going to answer today? Let me ignore some of you. I'm not doing that. They're over between all my platforms right now, there are over 200 people live, asking questions. And, I'm doing this for 30 minutes. I'm not going to get to everybody's question. If you want your question answered and my undivided attention focused on you, schedule a consultation. The number is there. Because at the end of the day, this is a free live that I'm doing out of the abundance of my heart. And, no one is entitled to anything. So hope that clears things for all of you who think that I've not answered your question. Okay, I'll take two more questions and then I got to jump off. Can a green card holder file for their mom? This is a very good question, but the answer is no. You have to be a U.S. citizen to be able to file for your parent. And you have to be over the age of 21. How long does it take to divorce a spouse? Okay, again, this is a divorce question. I can't answer divorce questions because I'm not a divorce lawyer. Crystal Pinnock says, I need to talk to you just for 5 minutes. Please schedule a consultation, 407-995-6567. Joyce is asking, can you throw more light on asylum cases? I know somebody else asked an asylum case. If you are tuning in for the first time. I don't handle asylum cases, so that's why I don't really talk about them on live, just because I'll rather use the time to talk about things that I actually do handle. So that's why I don't answer asylum cases questions. If you apply for a green card marriage base and it took you 3 years before you got it, so now would you be getting a 10-year green card instead of a 2-year? And can you apply for citizenship after receiving the 10-year green card? Okay, this is also a really good question, and I think something that confuses people. So if you at the time your green card is approved, if you are more than 2 years into your marriage, you will get a 10-year green card, not a 2-year green card. That being said, you cannot, let me repeat it again, you cannot apply for citizenship if you get your first green card as a 10-year green card until you have been a green card holder for 3 years and you are filing with your spouse. If you are not filing with your spouse because you're divorced, separated, whatever the case may be, then you need to wait 5 years. When you hear some people ask questions or say, oh, I filed for naturalization, I had a 2-year green card. The reason why those people are able to file for naturalization without their 10-year green card is because they already got a 2-year green card. And you got to remember that a 2-year green card and a 10-year green card, you essentially have the same rights. It's just the renewal and the removal are what makes it different. So your green card, they start counting from the date where you got your first green card, which is the 2-year green card. So that is the difference between filing for citizenship when you don't have your 10-year green card, when you're a 2-year green card holder, versus your very first green card is a 10-year green card. So those are two different things. It's a little bit confusing, but hopefully that makes it clear. This is the last one I'll take, and this is a comment. Ahmed, I accept your apology. He says, I didn't mean that. I meant if I have a problem to send you my question, may I send it in the wrong place? I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you doing this for free. No worries, all is forgiven. Just making sure you guys understand, I'm not ignoring your questions. I just can't get to all of them. But again, if I didn't answer your question today, call me 407-995-6567. And if I'm not available for a consult, it's okay to book with one of my amazing attorneys who are wonderful and badass lawyers, so you should be scheduling with any of us because you will get the same, results from anybody at this firm. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day. Bye.